Hi, this is Mrs. Steelman, and this is the Faerie Queene, Book 1, Canto 1, stanzas 39 to 55. And this is the last lecture you're going to be listening to finish up this canto. What we know so far, at least from the last lecture, is that Una and the Red Cross Knight have been successful. He has killed the monster, the she-monster, which is half monster, half woman, and all of her 1,000 monster babies have burst because they drank her blood. So they were on their way and they met a monk, and we know that he has invited them to stay in his humble abode for the evening, and they have agreed to do so because they're very tired. But then when they fall asleep, the monk, who actually turns out to be evil, goes into his study and conjures up some black magic and actually gets two sprites to do his bidding. One he sends away on a mission, and the other one that he keeps by his side to do evil to Una and the Red Cross Knight. So now we begin on stanza 39. He making speedy way through burst air and through the world of waters wide and deep to Morpheus. And Morpheus is the god of dreams. Amid the bowels of the earth full steep, and lo, where dawning day doth never peep, his dwelling is. There Tethys, his wet bed. And this is, Tethys happens to be the wife of the ocean. Doth ever wash, and Cynthid still doth sleep. In silver dew his ever drooping bed, while sad night over him her mantle black doth spread. So this is the same thing as saying like the knight's coat. So now we know that what has happened is that one of the sprites is going off and making his way through the air to the god of dreams, because he's actually trying to get a bad dream from the god of dreams and bring it back. So that's his job. Whose double gates he findeth locked fast, the one fair framed of burnished ivory. And so Y equals I here. So that word is ivory. The other all with silver overcast, and wakeful dogs before them far to lie. So now we know we have some guard dogs here. So that should remind you a little bit of Harry Potter. Watching to banish care their enemy, who oft is wont to trouble gentle sleep. By them the sprite doth pass in quietly, and into Morpheus comes, whom drowned deep in drowsy fit he finds, of nothing he takes keep. So actually the sprite goes by the dogs and finds Morpheus, who is asleep. So I guess that's pretty normal when you think that the god of dreams would be sleeping. And more to lull him in his slumber soft, a trickling stream from high rock tumbling down, an ever-drizzling rain upon the loft, mixed with a murmuring wind, much like the sound of swarming bees, did cast him in a swoon. No other noise, nor people's troubled cries, are still as wont to annoy the walled town. Might there be heard but careless quiet lies, wrapped in eternal silence, far from enemies. So basically we have the sound of water, which is lulling and something that would sound pretty good and actually make anybody fall asleep. So we have at the end of the stanza another cloak idea, a coat that seems to wrap itself around something. So the sprite is here, and what he's trying to do is get that dream. The messenger approaching to him spake, but his lost words returned to him in vain. So sound he slept that not mought him awake. Then rudely he him thrust and pushed with pain, whereat he gan to stretch. But he again shook him so hard that forced him to speak, as one then in a dream, whose drier brain is tossed with trouble sights and fancies weak. He mumbled soft, but would not all his silence break. So actually, in this part, the sprite still tries to wake up Morpheus. The sprite then gan more boldly him to wake, and threatened unto him the dreaded name of Hecate. And Hecate is pretty important. She is the queen of Hades, witches. And you'll find that she's also going to appear in Macbeth. So that's pretty important. You'll definitely see her again. And lifting up his lumpish head with blame, half angry asked him for what he came. Hither, quoth he, me Archimago sent. So now we know that the monk is really Archimago. So that's arch image is what it stands for, his name, but it's really somebody who is an evil person in this poem. He that the stubborn sprites can wisely tame, he bids thee to him send for his intent, a fit false dream that can delude the sleeper's scent. So he wants a dream that can trick Una and Red Cross. The god obeyed, and calling forth straightway a diverse dream out of his prison dark, delivered it to him, and down did lay his heavy head, devoid of careful cark, whose senses all were straight benumbed and stark. He back returning by the ivory door, remounted up his light as cheerful lark, and on his little wings the dream he bore, in haste unto his lord, where he himself left afore. So that's kind of interesting image, isn't it? Where his dreams were carried on his wings. And he carries that back. Notice that he calls Archimago, or the monk, he calls him Lord. And when you think about it, the devil, if you can believe or do believe the stories, that actually Satan was an angel, and he could be the Lord of evil, or an evil person that is full of sin. In a lot of stories, books, and poems, you'll hear Satan referred to in this way. So that's not too surprising. Who all this while, with charms and hidden arts, had made a lady of that other sprite. So now we're back to Archimago, or the monk, and we know that he's creating some evil here. He made a lady of that other sprite, and framed of liquid air her tender parts, so lively and so like in all men's sight, that weaker sense it could have ravished quite. The maker's self, for all his wondrous wit, was nigh beguiled with so goodly sight. Her all in white he clad, and over it cast a black stole, most like to seem for Una fit. So basically what he's done here is he's had the sprite dress up like Una, but he gives her a sexual look so that he's trying to entice Red Cross. So of course we know that it's just the sprite, but of course when Red Cross wakes up, he's not going to know. Now when that idle dream was to him brought, unto that elfin knight he bade him fly. And remember, elfin is again, elfin is referring to Red Cross, where he slept soundly, void of evil thought, and with false shows abuse his fantasy, in sort as he him schooled privily. And that new creature born without her due, full of the maker's guile, with usage sly, and that would be with cleverness. He taught to imitate that lady true, whose semblance she did carry under feigned hue. So basically, he's teaching her to act like her. So that's something, not only does she dress like Una, but now she acts like her too. Thus well instructed to their work they hast, and coming where the knight in slumber lay, the one upon his hearty head him plast, and made him dream of loves and lustful play, that nigh his manly heart did melt away, bathed in wanton bliss and wicked joy. Then seemed him his lady by him lay, and to him played not how that false winged boy her chaste heart had subdued to learn Dame Pleasure's toy. So he actually, Archimago, makes Red Cross dream of this lady. And actually, it's kind of a sexual dream. So this is something, of course, Red Cross has apparently never experienced. So he's not quite sure of what to do. And she herself of beauty sovereign queen, fair Venus, seemed unto his bed to bring. So it's almost like feeling like the goddess of love is in his bed. And so her whom he waking evermore did ween to be the chastest flower that I did spring on earthly branch, the daughter of a king, now a loose leman, and that would be a paramour. So that word leman, L-E-M-A-N, is a paramour. And you could think of that as a lover, or something, maybe even a lady of the night. So something a little bit more sexual than that. And eke, which means also, and also the graces seemed all to sing, Hymen, Hymen dancing all around, whilst freshest Flora her with Yule garland crowned. So Hymen is the god of marriage. But basically, she is in his bed to entice him and to make him sin. And that's something that Red Cross would be very, very surprised about. And he wouldn't like it at all. In this great passion of unwanted lust or wanted fear of doing aught amiss, he started up as seeming to mistrust some secret ill or hidden foe of his. Lo, there before his face his lady is, under Blake's stole hiding her baited hook, and as half blushing offered him to kiss, with gentle blandishment and lovely look, most like that virgin true which for her knight him took. So basically she tries to kiss him, and he doesn't want anything to do with it. He mistrusts the situation. He knows that something's wrong. He knows that that's not really the Una that he knows, and it's really unnerving him. All clean dismayed to see so uncouth sight, and half enraged at her shameless guise, he thought have slain her in his fiercest despite, but hasty he tempering with sufferance wise, he stayed his hand, and 'gan himself advise, to prove his sense and tempt her feigned truth, wringing her hands in women's piteous wise, though can she weep to stir up gentle ruth, both for her noble blood and for her tender youth. So right now he's mad, but he's also but he's also angry enough that he wants to kill her, which seems a little odd for Red Cross to lose his temper like that. But if you think about it, he believes that he is risking his life for her, so he expects her to be chaste and pure. And a chaste woman is not just someone who hasn't had sex before, because a woman who's married during the Renaissance period would be chaste